Hello YouTube, Canadian Edge here. We're going to do a knife review, and the knife that we're going to look at today, it is the CJRB Bowie Pyrite. And I was really excited about this knife. I liked what they've done with the Pyrite series. I have a couple of the different knives from the Pyrite series, and each one of them has been great. I really like them. So I was excited when they came out with this one. And so let's take a look at what this has to offer. It has a blade length of 3.11 inches. Open, it is 7.3 inches long. And closed, it is 4.29 inches. The steel on this, it is an AR RPM 9, which CJRB uses for a lot of their knives. Have found no problems with the steel to this point. It keeps an edge really well. It's easy to sharpen, and yeah, so far it's been a good steel. So anybody that's curious about the AR RPM 9 that CJRB uses, so far it seems to be a good steel. If you've had different issues with it, you can let me know, but in my experience, it's been a good steel, so happy about that. It is a stonewash clip point as well, so they did the stonewash on the blade and on the handle, and I think it looks good. It just makes the blade look like, you know, it's been used, but when you do use it, it doesn't mark up that well. So it's a good finish on the blade. The weight of it is 2.84 ounces, so not a heavy knife, although it feels good and solid in your hand. So the handle on this, it is the steel handle, so I think if you spend a little bit more, you can get different handles on them. I'd have to look that up, but yeah, this one, it comes with the steel handle. This is the budget model, and these go for, what is it? I want to say around $80 Canadian. Maybe they're not that much. Sorry, I should have looked it up. I will put a link to this in the description, so anybody that's curious, just click on that link and you can find out. The pocket clip on this, it is a reversible pocket clip. So lefties, it will work for you. Tip up, deep carry, which is always nice. It is a button lock knife, and so nice and simple. And I like the button locks. The button locks work really well for me. Keeps my fingers out of the way, keeps my thumb out of the way, so I don't get cuts on it from dropping the blade when I'm not paying attention with liner locks and frame locks. So it has the dual thumb stud opening on there. One of the things, well, I'll talk about, I'll mention it because we're talking about it. I prefer rounder thumb studs. I don't know if you can see that, but these are kind of a pointed thumb stud, and it's not that bad when you're just, you know, opening it casually, but if you're opening it a lot, it's not the most comfortable. So I prefer the rounded off thumb studs. So CJRB, yeah, take note. No. Anyway, it works, so not a big deal. They do have the jimping on the blade, which I like. There is a lanyard hole for those that like to apply lanyards to their knives. And there is a finger choil up here for choking up on the knife and doing different grips. And it's a nice feature on the knives that they've been doing on different knives, and I really like that. There is a fuller on there for aesthetic purposes, because most of us don't need a blood groove on our knife for any real reason, but the fuller is on there and gives it a nice aesthetic. And it does have the ball bearing pivots in there. So nice smooth action on the pivot. And you can see it is pretty much down the center. And there is no blade play. Sits in there nice and solid. So you don't have any blade play up and down, back or side to side. It sits in there good. Let's take a quick look at some size comparisons. We've got the Ontario Rat 2, and you can see they're similar in size. And the Benchmade Bug Out, it's pretty much the same size as the Bug Out. So if you're familiar with the Bug Out, that'll give you an idea of the size of these knives. And so it's a medium size knife because we have the Sencut Saxi, which is a little bit bigger knife, and also the Civivi Cogent. So you can see they do have a little bit of size on the Pyrite there. So, but for me, it's a good size knife. I like the smaller knives, and sorry, it's a medium sized knife, not a smaller knife, but I like this size. Sharp wise, I have used this actually quite a bit, and it's still got a really good edge on it. As I said, the AR RPM 9, in my experience so far, it's held a good edge. I haven't had a problem with it, and it's not crazy hard to sharpen. Cutting through the zip tie, goes through there pretty darn easy. Through the nylon cord, I should have cut it a little longer, and it cuts through that fairly easy, just my bad holding, and also the paracord. It cuts through that without too much effort. So I really liked what they've done with this. I like the look of the Bowie blade. Aesthetically, very pleasing. The handle itself is very generic. No real wow factor to it, but I think the thing that makes this a good looking knife is the blade profile. I like the way they added the fuller in there. It gives it a nice look. The swedges on top here give it a nice look, and coming to that point, yeah, I really like the blade profile that they've done here. This looks like a knife you could take on adventures and use out in the woods and stuff like that, but also be very functional in the office, and you could use it there as well. So aesthetically, I like what they've done with it. Even the basics, the minimalistic handle, I think it works with what you have here. And blade ratio to handle, it is all a good balance there. I think they did a great job with that. The ergonomics on it, really good. Feels great in the hand. Feels like you've got good control of the knife. You could use it for a long time. Even the pocket clip isn't that obtrusive. Some of the pocket clips will stick into your hand in different places and create a hot spot. I think you'd be pretty good with this for long-term use. Like the choil, just gives you that extra grip that you can change it up, and you're more controlled if you're doing fine slicing or cutting or whatever. But then you can be back here for the leverage and that you need for different cutting jobs. So ergonomics are good. Pivot on it, great. Out of the box, had no issues with it. It fired great out of the box. I do put pivot lubrication on just because I like to make sure it is lubricated and moving smoothly. Fits in the pocket really well. Doesn't take up a lot of room in the pocket. Not that bulky, and yeah, nice fit in the pocket. And it's a fun fidget knife. I play with these knives. You can do the reverse flick on it as well because of the fuller on there. It allows you to do that, which I often do, especially with this knife. One of my complaints, and this may be just me, if you have one of these knives you can let me know, is the pocket clip, or sorry, not the pocket clip, the thumb stud. The placement of the thumb stud, for me, if I have to do it just right, otherwise I'm not getting the proper push on it. It's probably more just me, the way I hang on to my knife, because it seems if you do it right, it works great and not a problem. But I find for me the reverse flick is just as easy and actually a little bit better for opening for my purposes. So I do the reverse flick a lot with this knife, which also adds to the fidgetability of the knife. Complaints, the only complaints I had, pocket clip, my typical complaint. They didn't make the pocket clip flush back here, so it does stick up and it's wear and tear on your pocket. But that's one of my usual complaints with a lot of knives. The handle, it is slippery. I would like to see somehow that they make, you know, just a little bit of grip in there. I don't know whether they can put lines and that in it to manufacture that way, but it just makes it is a little bit slippery because of the steel handles, but not a big deal. And then I mentioned about the thumb studs. I'd like to see those more rounded off, not quite so pointed, and I would find them more comfortable that way. So, but other than that, this is a great knife. I've carried this knife a lot. I really enjoy using this knife. This will be a knife I use for a long time. They do have one with a, what do they call it, the rose colored blade. I might end up purchasing that at some point, and just because I like the way it looks. But as far as functionality, I find this knife great. I've had to cut down boxes and open packages and used it out in the garden for little jobs that I was doing around the garden, and it worked out great. So yes, I would highly recommend this as an EDC knife. All the pyrites that I've dealt with, from the original pyrite to the Tanto style to this one, all have been really good knives. You can get the mini pyrite. I will add that at some point to the collection, just because I've found the pyrites to be a really nice line of knives, and so this one is no exception. Excuse me. It works well, and I've really enjoyed this. So I would highly recommend this as an everyday carry knife for anybody looking for a inexpensive everyday carry. I'm pretty sure you can use and abuse this knife and it'll hold up to a lot of use, and it looks good. Looks like something you'd want to take on an adventure, and you know, you can rely on it. So this is the CJRB Bowie Pyrite. Check them out. Check out the other pyrite lineups that they have, and see what you think of those. Great budget knives in my opinion, and CJRB has a lot of different knives that fit the budget lineup. So CJRB Bowie Pyrite. All right, thank you for joining me on this review. Hit the like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I will get back to you. We will do this all over with another knife, but until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.